On this edition of The American Veteran, bringing medical care to the streets for the homeless veterans,
People who are homeless often have very unique needs.
the mission continues for post 9/11 veterans,
Good.
putting miles on for a cause, a tribute to the unit that conducted the funeral of President John F. Kennedy. Welcome to The American Veteran. I'm Jonathan Kopanger, a Navy veteran. And joining me is our active duty guest host, MC1 Blake. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here with us today, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Jonathan. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a sad fact that each year 1 in 10 veterans in poverty experience homelessness. However, the Department of Veterans Affairs is determined that no veteran should be without safe housing. To reach that goal, VA created programs to get vets back on their feet. The American Veteran traveled to Seattle to look at one of the programs.
You're sleeping out in the Seattle rain, you get sick, and you have nowhere to go, you have nowhere to turn to. That's where you really, go through the phases of depression and anxiety. Being a veteran is one type of thing you go through. Being a homeless veteran is completely different.
Homeless Patient Aligned Care Teams, or HPACT, a VA initiative to end homelessness among veterans, provides medical support to vets during the transition to housing. HPACT's teams are active in 40 regions across the country and consist of a doctor, a nurse, and a social worker.
I ended up getting a place at the Union Gospel Mission in downtown Seattle in Pioneer Square. And Dr. Reddy and his team were out looking for veterans, homeless veterans.
This program was started with the idea being that people who are homeless often have very unique needs.
The thing about it is that anybody can become homeless. But in really spending time with them, you get to hear their story a little bit, and everyone's got a story that's worth listening to, I think.
If you're homeless, it's harder to get the health care that you need. It's harder to take the medications, it's harder to maintain access to medications, to see your doctor, to do everything else.
I think there are a lot of little things that we're able to do that send a pretty big message to veterans, and that impacts how they engage with our hospital and almost all care, I think.
A lot of times we can go a long ways in helping people take care of some of their medical ailments just by finding them housing.
I felt that it was there for the younger people coming home from the Middle East and all those wars. They're the ones who really needed the help. I was a pretty healthy guy, I was working, everything was good. So I never thought about it until later on, a few years ago. Then the whole story changed, and I definitely became involved in the VA and their services.
Combining primary care clinics with walk-in hours, intensive case management, and outreach, the team is working to make sure that all veterans are engaged with the VA and getting the services they need.
I try to focus on two big groups of veterans. One are the really high needs veterans, the folks whose medical illness is uncontrolled, who are having to come into the ER all the time, who just need a little bit of extra attention. And the second group of veterans are those who are just not connected to the VA, or they've fallen out of care with the VA, and to do our best to rebuild that relationship or to build it in the first place.
They can see a physician, they can talk to a social worker, they can have a housing assessment all in one day, as opposed to having it over 3 or 4 days or having to come back and leave and go and come.
Our job is to help them get a little breathing space. So help deal with that medical issue, get it stabilized, help them get into some sort of housing so that they can start thinking about their future again.
They've been superstars to me. I mean, they're just awesome. It's a great team. He's been my primary care doctor the whole time. They've set me up also with psychiatric help, which I needed, and anything else I needed of medical or housing.
Everybody just wants a chance. Everybody wants to break that cycle, a hand up. They want to get their medical issues taken care of, their mental health issues taken care of, and they want to move forward with their life.
Just now in its second year, the HPAC team reports decreases in emergency care visits by their patients by over 2/3, and hospital visits have been reduced by 1/3 to 1/2.
No, I knew that when they got me set up in housing, I would be over that fear of being back on the streets again. There's no way I would be able to survive in the streets.
It's our honor, it's our duty to serve them, and we want to make sure that they get access to the services that they deserve.
I just had this burning desire, it's like a calling almost, to do anything I can, go anywhere I can to get people to come and try it out, you know, kind of a thing. And I have a lot of confidence in the team as to what they did for me. I know they can do it for other people too.
Veterans are 2 to 3 times more likely to experience homelessness than their peers. Like Joseph, we want to make sure that all veterans know there's help. For more information, please visit va.gov/homeless.
Thousands of post 9/11 veterans are dealing with a letdown that can happen after returning home from active duty. Your mission is over and your service seems no longer needed. But a veteran service organization is changing that. The Mission Continues has found new ways for veterans to engage with their communities and continue serving.
Army veteran Nicholas Yanez turned to the bottle when he came home from Iraq.
I did drink a lot for about 1.5 years after discharge, and it was bad, where I'd be drinking from 10 in the morning until whenever I'd go to sleep.
Not only was he coping with a traumatic brain injury resulting from an IED blast, he also struggled with depression and feeling worthless.
I was stuck in this, in my shell. I felt safe there. There's no reason to leave. I was comfortable, but it wasn't healthy. It was a really sad existence. I never left the house unless it was to get something to eat or to buy more alcohol.
Then Nicholas heard about The Mission Continues, a nonprofit organization aimed at post-9/11 veterans like himself.
They train, they deploy, they fight, they come home. And when they do, The Mission Continues offers them a challenge.
And so I saw a commercial, and the commercial was just cool enough to where I was like, all right, I'll look it up.
The organization was founded in 2007, inspired by wounded veterans who voiced a strong desire to continue serving. It provides 6-month community service fellowships to help post-9/11 veterans find the same sense of purpose they found in the military.
And then Team 3, you're going to be with Aaron.
Aaron Scheinberg, himself an Iraq War veteran, says meaningful service is the key.
When you come back home as a veteran, we're looking for new ways to get that feeling, to be part of something bigger, to serve with other veterans. And The Mission Continues has found a way to do that, and that's through service together as civilians.
For Nicholas, a mixed martial arts expert and former judo champion, that service is sharing his passion for martial arts.
I'm a gladiator. I was born to fight. I don't mean like in a sense to hurt people, but I mean in a competitive way. I think that's what I was born to do, is to fight. When I'm putting on my equipment, I honestly feel like I'm putting on my Kevlar, I'm putting on the boots. For me, I'm just strapping up and going into battle, and I come in here and I'm comfortable, I'm calm, there's no fear, there's no nerves.
Through the fellowship, Nicholas receives a monthly stipend that enables him to teach at-risk kids at the nonprofit Black Mat Mixed Martial Arts Studio in Whittier, California.
My mission today is mostly about teaching these kids the self-confidence they need, these social skills, and getting them to exercise. Good. Hey, look at that power. When I'm teaching, I couldn't be more proud just watching them put into practice the techniques that you just taught them. And a lot of these kids are like 5, 6 years old, and to me, I'm like, man, I wish I would have had this kind of training, that young. Good job.
He's really cool. He doesn't really force it on you to learn really fast. He gives you time to actually learn it.
He makes learning this really fun for us.
He's a good coach, and he helps us learn new things.
Across the country, dozens of other Mission Continues fellows are also reporting to duty to serve their communities. In New York City, several took part in the group's 9/11 Day of Service. They joined families of 9/11 victims and community volunteers to refurbish the New York Fire Department Training Academy. Marine veteran German Baez says the confidence he gained from his fellowship helping low-income families has jump-started a new career.
The Mission Continues has given me that motivation that I needed, that I was missing for so many years. And it is with the great sense of pride that I can say that I will be able to accomplish this goal of going to law school.
They feel like they are re-energized, rejuvenated. They feel like they're needed again. And so that's what we do with the Mission Continues. We let veterans know that we still need them in the community. And it's been shown to work.
Now 60 pounds lighter and with a renewed sense of purpose, Nicholas has transformed.
You'll start to feel that sense of worth again, and you won't need to drink that much. You won't need to bury your sorrow. You won't need to numb yourself out because you'll have something that you have to give. You'll feel like you're needed somewhere.
More than 700 post-9/11 veterans have received fellowships. Information about the application process is available at missioncontinues.org. As for Nicholas, he's planning to finish up his bachelor's degree and open his own gym next year in Oregon, where he'll offer free martial arts training to kids.
For many veterans, readjusting to civilian life can be a major challenge, but there is help and support. The American veteran traveled to Southern California to meet one vet who's inspiring others with the message that no goal is too far from their reach.
If there is one person who defines the word selfless, it's Luke Farnell. A sergeant in the Army, Luke served for 4 years, including a 14-month tour in Iraq. Now a civilian, he's back in Orange County, California, where he and his wife, Alicia, are raising their daughter, Leah.
Good. Let us thank him for our food.
There you go.
But it wasn't an easy transition for him. Like many vets, Luke began experiencing post-traumatic stress, falling deeper and deeper into depression until, with courage and determination, he decided to fight back. For him, that meant taking it one step at a time, with his lifelong passion, running.
I noticed that when I ran, those feelings kind of went away. And so I basically replaced my time with being depressed and feeling sorry for myself and getting out there running a few miles. And then a few miles turned into more and more, and now I could say I'm addicted to it.
But a healthy addiction for Luke, which led him to join Team Red, White, and Blue, a nonprofit organization that supports veterans transitioning from the military to civilian life.
I want to have the opportunity to give veterans who are coming home from deployments an opportunity to connect with people in their community through physical fitness and social activities.
For the past year, he's led workouts and run races with vets. But this year is also unique. Luke set a personal mission for himself to run 2,013 miles in 2013. That's like running from Los Angeles to Chicago.
I used to just run just to stay healthy, or, because it was something I've always done, but I decided this year is going to be more about for a reason, something bigger than just myself.
Part therapy, part passion, Luke averages 6 miles a day, so far clocking more than 1,500 miles. Which is why when Luke showed up to start running one morning, he was all smiles, even though it was 2 a.m.
Got a couple hours of rest and ready to hit it.
Today's challenge, to raise awareness about Waves of Valor, a surf camp for veterans.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you there.
Mile after mile, Luke proudly held the American flag.
Ahead of pace.
hoping that people would catch a glimpse of him along the way. Almost 4.5 hours later, he arrives on the beach to a hero's welcome.
Hi, Luke. You're my hero.
Oh, you're my hero, Paula. Beer.
While Luke recovers, veterans were arriving at the surf camp.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. I want to welcome you to our third Waves of Valor. If you're a veteran, raise your hand.
Some with visible ailments, others with PTSD, all of them hoping to catch a wave and a smile.
Real quick, my name is Eric Gutierrez. I'm coordinating between Team Red, White, and Blue and VA.
Eric Gutierrez is an Army veteran who now works for the Veterans Administration Greater Los Angeles Healthcare System.
7, 8.
The VA sees the value of team building through physical fitness and has partnered with Team Red, White, and Blue to put on events like this surf camp. They also hold less intense activities like yoga or Tai Chi. The benefit, Gutierrez says, goes beyond therapy.
I think in large part what a lot of veterans probably miss is that camaraderie, that tightness of a team that you go through hell and back with each other. A large part what we're trying to rebuild here is that camaraderie and building that trust in teams and through interaction with other veterans.
She's going to help you just kind of go over the basics.
That trust came once veterans were paired up with their battle buddies or coaches.
So can you swim?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maria Macias, a staff sergeant in the Air Force, served in Afghanistan. Her buddy was Luke Farnell.
You're going to pretend like you're paddling. So let's try it one more time. There you go. Yeah. So
the faster I pop up, the better.
Yep.
For Macias, who has PTSD, she found this experience to be therapeutic. But more importantly, having Luke as her coach motivated her even more.
And it makes me feel proud of being, to know him and know that he's a vet who's doing all this, just trying to send a message to the rest. That makes you want to be somewhat like him and push ourselves like he is pushing himself.
Army veteran Michael Landier agrees.
I've made small goals and I've been able to meet them. And seeing Luke just keep striving for more, I'm going to strive for more as well.
ready? Good job.
Being a veteran, I've had to come home and I've had time to adjust and reintegrate to my community. But some of these people, they haven't had a chance to do that yet. So that's why we're trying to give them an opportunity to reintegrate seamlessly, and make sure that they have support along the way.
Luke hasn't raised a lot of money for Team Red, White, and Blue, but the mission has become more about bringing attention to the group by doing something out of the ordinary and to serve his fellow veterans. Luke says he can do that because he knows firsthand what they're going through.
I think that veterans that see what I'm doing, they might be inspired, they might think I'm a little crazy at the same time, or maybe me being crazy might inspire them.
Luke is 3/4 of the way to finishing his goal. Follow Luke's journey at lukeruns.com as he tries to complete 2,013 miles by the end of the year. For more information on getting involved with Team Red, White, and Blue, visit them at teamrwb.org.
The 3rd U.S. Infantry, also known as the Old Guard, is the Army's oldest active duty regiment and its official ceremonial unit. 50 years ago, this unit was called upon to preside over the state funeral of President Kennedy. Today, many of those who took part consider it their finest hour.
On the weekend before Thanksgiving 1963, tens of millions of Americans sat glued to their television sets as the funeral of President Kennedy unfolded before them. The sudden loss of the young president, a decorated war veteran, brought waves of shock and grief to the American people. But in the days that followed, a solemn pageant of military grandeur, helped heal the shattered nation. For the troops who made it happen, it was a prolonged battle of will and endurance.
It was 4 days of the most intense pressure I've ever worked under.
Tom Reed, an Army captain with the Old Guard at the time, was ordered to organize the gravesite ceremonies for the funeral. Today, he lives in retirement, struggling with the effects of Parkinson's disease.
So everybody who was involved knew what to do.
Tom has proud memories of the role he and his fellow guardsmen played in history.
It was a watershed event in my life. I wanted to memorialize it in some fashion.
Tom Reed's book, Their Finest Hour, is the result of that ambition. It contains the personal accounts of 22 old guardsmen who took part in the state funeral. One of them is former PFC Arthur Andy Carlson, now retired and living in Alabama.
Tom explained what he was doing and just wanted me to, if I would, talk with him a little bit, and then he said, "Can you write this down?"
Carlson's assignment during the funeral was to handle the riderless horse Blackjack, symbol of a fallen leader.
Blackjack was a very aloof horse. He didn't like people or horses. He'd been a wild young horse in his youth. And he got spooked right before we moved to the White House, the first day of the state funeral. And he just showed out and acted up, and he acted up the rest of the time.
He was fighting a losing battle with a 1,000-pound horse. And he had very specific places he had to take that horse. That horse had to go. And he didn't have any interest in going where Andy was going. He was the youngest man with a position of responsibility in the funeral, and he performed his duties masterfully, better than anybody I can imagine. He did it with grace. He made it look easy.
I didn't know what was going on around me. You have a job, and when times get tough, you just focus on your job. But now, after hearing these other stories about it all, I have tremendous respect for all those guys and what they did. I had the simplest job out there. All I had to do was lead a horse.
All of the nation's military service units and service academies were represented at the funeral. In the Death Watch at the White House, under the Capitol Dome, along the parade route, and on the casket platoon. But the Old Guard had special oversight responsibilities every step of the way.
Because the funeral was 4 days long, and it was in so many different locations that no one person saw it all.
But since Tom came out with his book, I've developed a great appreciation for everything that was swirling around while I was doing my small bit. Like the casket bearers, what they did was just awesome. The riders, what they did. The officers trying to coordinate everything, making snap decisions left and right, and making it all flow seamlessly.
50 years later, dozens of Old Guard veterans returned to Washington, D.C. for a reunion.
Sure, mind if I give you a hand?
Led by Tom Reed, they laid a wreath at the gravesite of their former commander-in-chief, where an eternal flame ensures that he will never be forgotten, nor will the troops he commanded who brought him here to rest.
The riderless horse Blackjack served in funerals of thousands of veterans before his death in 1976. He was laid to rest with full military honors at Fort Myer, Virginia, which remains the home of the Old Guard.
That concludes this edition of The American Veteran. The Department of Veterans Affairs is honored to bring you this program.
If you'd like to get in touch with us or obtain more information about VA benefits and services, call us at 1-800-827-1000 or visit our website, va.gov. And if you're a veteran who's troubled in some way, please call the Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255.